What if Denji had accepted Reze's offer and had run away with her? What if, instead of staying where he worked, he decided that he did want to get away from it all and live with Reze? Just how drastic of a change would this be? That's what I'm here to discuss today. I did put a lot of time into making this, so I do hope you guys like it. Without further ado, let's get into it. So this is going to be discussing the Bomb Girl arc, but it's not even going to be covering all of it. There are quite a lot of changes that's going to happen. Now, in this alternate timeline, Denji looks at Reze as she told him that she likes him. Denji does look hesitant, looking down while he contemplates what he just heard. She asked if he doesn't like her, but he tells her that's not it at all. Now, this is where things begin to differ from the original timeline. Denji tells Reze that he does like her, and he does want to go away with her, as it does sound like it'd be fun. But he's worried that if he did run, he'd be leaving his friends behind. At this point, Denji was fairly close with both Aki and Power, though of course not as much as he was at the end of the series, but he'd still already formed a bond with them. Reze smiles as she looks at him, realizing that he was already halfway out the door. She can see he's leaning much more towards leaving with her, unlike how in the main timeline he was leaning much more towards staying. She knew it wouldn't be hard to push him towards running away, and with a bit of manipulation, she'd have him under a spell. Reze reassures him that his friends will be fine and that Denji should focus on himself and his own happiness. She tells him that if he runs away with her, they could live a happy and long, loving life. A life away from all of the killing of devils, where you have to risk your life day in and day out. And as what happened originally, like in the original story, she promised that he would have a happier life if he did go with her. Even happier than the one he was living now with the public safety devil hunters. Now, even though Denji doesn't actually mind or even care about risking his life killing devils because, well, it's Denji. He was, however, more captivated by the prospect of living out his days in even more happiness, because that's what Denji wants at the end of the day. To be promised a life even better than the one he was already living, which he actually already loved, he was at this point completely sold. Plus, it didn't hurt when it was coming from a cute girl who was telling him she liked him. One thing I should mention is that it's possible that Denji was under Makima's ability of charm, which is why, Denji likes Makima so much, and why he's always trying to get a date with her, because it's the same as many devil hunters, as they see Makima in the same way. And even Aki liked Makima without her using such abilities. Even in the case that she were just using her powers to make Denji like her, we've seen in the final arc that you are able to break out of it, as Angel and Denji had done so. And furthermore, Denji still liked Makima even after he was free of brainwashing, as we saw in the graveyard scene in the final arc. Regardless, in this scenario, he does agree to run away with Reze, even though he has feelings for Makima. Denji tells Reze that of course he does like her, and that he'll do it. He'll run away with her. Now, if you remember in the original timeline, when Reze bites Denji's tongue off when they kiss, in this timeline, she doesn't do that. It's just, a normal kiss. Which is great because, Denji doesn't have to go through that absolute catastrophe. The fireworks go off, and it is what it is. Back with Aki, he's actually sitting down in a cafe having coffee with Angel. Now, in this timeline, this scene was taking place about half an hour before he would go help with training at the Devil Extermination Division 2 training facility. It was about 2 hours or so from the time that Reze confesses to Daisy. From Denji, not Daisy. Okay, what is that? At this point, he still doesn't like Angel. He stares out the window and he's lost in deep thought, as just then, the future devil shows Aki a horrifying future. He was going to die at the hands of Denji. What's important to note is that in this timeline, the way Aki is going to die has not only changed, but it's also going to occur much sooner than it did in the main story. Well, he's still going to die in a similar way. You'll see when it comes to that part. Aki starts sweating profusely as his skin goes pale, because he was just shown his own death, which makes sense. He murmurs under his breath, asking why the future devil had just shown him this future, sorry. Angel asks Aki what's wrong, as this was very unusual behavior from the calm and cool Aki that Angel knew. Aki, still in disbelief from what he had seen, tells Angel that they need to see Makima as soon as possible, as he struggles to get up from his chair. Now, going back to Reze and Denji, as she had said earlier, Reze said she knows someone who owes her a favor and that this person has a place where the public safety will never find them. Now, this is by no means new information or even impossible. We've seen that Kishibe, he was able to hide Denji, and Kobini, I think that's how you say his name, he's able to hide them completely from Makima and the public safety devil hunters, even in Makima's own territory of Japan. So it is possible to hide from Makima, even within her own territory. Now this is where a lot of speculation comes to play. This person that Reze is referring to is either A, the Russian government. This is a fairly likely outcome, as Kishibe had told Aki that Reze was a soldier that the Soviets created to serve them. The reason Reze was even going after Denji is because she was most likely ordered to. Or it's outcome B, the Gun Devil. This is the least likely outcome, but the reason I'm putting in this possibility is because this comes from Beam, who claims that information coming from Makima. He also says that he'd be killed if he reveals any more information on how he knows that. Now, knowing what we know from the Gun Devil arc, it's more than likely that when Makima said that Reze was being ordered to from the Gun Devil, she was just referring to Russia, because we know every country controls a piece of the Gun Devil, as Russia were confirmed to have 28% of the Gun Devil under their control, the most of any other country in the world. So this option falls back into A. This would just be the Russian government, even if it were the Gun Devil ordering her, because the Russian government controls the Gun Devil. Or it's option C. She actually does know a third party that can help them be hidden. Now this is what I believe to be the case, and I'm going to explain why as quickly as I can. It's extremely important that I briefly explain Reze's character. You see, Reze tells Denji at the beach that the whole time she was lying to him. Every smile, laugh, blush, it was all an act to get Denji to fall for her so she could capture him. Though there is truth to that she was faking her personality to seem more likable. What she failed to realize only until the very end was she actually did fall for Denji. Denji had an extremely similar backstory to Reze, and not only did she heavily sympathize with him, but she sees a lot of herself in him. And she even does like Denji as a person. Several times there are moments when Reze is out of her usual character, and even when she is, there are still truths within the lies that she tells him. What's most telling is the moment just before she tells Denji she wants to run away with him. She calls Denji by his name, and it's the first time she's actually extremely serious with him. It also doesn't show her face as she's that serious. And it's most likely from Denji's initial expression, the expression before she grabbed his arm and started blushing again, that he was actually stunned to see Reze with a serious face and tone for the first time. Now I quote her, "I've been thinking about it a lot, and I stand by what I said. Your situation is messed up. Like making a 16-year-old fight devils to the death, not even letting you go to school. The government shouldn't allow that." These are Reze's words, word for word. As I said before, the camera doesn't show her face the whole time that she says this. It's extremely likely that her face was quite intense, judging from her tone of speaking, as not only her style of speaking had changed, but Denji's shocked reaction to it, it really does imply that she was serious at this time. It's clear that she does sympathize and relates to Denji, and I truly do believe that she would have run away with him and tried to protect him. It was only after it was clear that he had fallen for Makima's brainwashing that she decided that he was too far gone. And he decided instead to continue her mission of capturing Denji. That's when she bites her tongue off, and even during the fight in the sea, she does say that, of course, Makima has you under her control, it was pointless to try and run away anyway, implying that she did actually mean to run away. I mean, there's far more evidence, with her even confirming that she did want to run away with him, but I don't want to take any more time on this specific point because I think I've taken quite a lot already. As I do think I've already made it clear, Reze did like Denji and would have run away. Now back to the actual what if. See, Reze grabs Denji by the hand and tells him that they would need to move quickly now, as there was a chance that Makima was listening in on them and had just heard their conversation. Denji is confused as he wasn't sure how she would have heard their conversation, but that did remind him of something or someone he had forgotten about just until that moment. Just before Denji could say anything, Denji and Reze were completely surrounded by Aki, Angel, Galgali, I think that's how you say his name, the violence fiend, and Kenobi. Aki tells Denji who that woman is and what he's doing with her. Before Denji could even respond, Reze said that the witch Makima had already sent her pawns after them, though she was wrong in this case, because they weren't here on Makima's orders. They were actually here because of Aki and the future that he saw. Though Reze doesn't know this, and Reze assumes it's because of Makima, Reze places her finger on her choker around her neck and prepares to transform. And that's where I'll leave it for today. This is already 3 pages long, and any longer would just be ridiculous. At least in my standards, I do wish I could have made it all longer, but considering how long it takes to edit and write a script and the limited time I have because of university, for me, this is very long. Apologies if there was a lot of explaining going on rather than letting the story play out. Now that all the reasoning is out of the way, I do promise you that in the second part, it's going to be much faster paced, and the story will be the main focus. So the story will be progressing much more than in this first part. This is kind of like the explaining and introductory to this what if. With that, let me know what you think will happen in the comments, because I've actually already written it out, so I'm interested to see what you think, because this is a what if, so it's more of, I guess, like my ideas of what would happen. So be sure to subscribe for the next part and leave a like if you enjoyed, which will let me know you want more content like this. Alright, so take care, bye.